Hello, and welcome to another After Party episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I've lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for over 7 years.
Wow.
I'm a Tiny Habits certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach, and with me today is my After Party guy. I didn't know where I was going with that.
After party guy Donald Weigel. And I have lost about 100 pounds. I have kept it off for about 7 years. In fact, we're almost at exactly 7 years since we started this podcast. Next episode will be the 7th anniversary. And if there's one thing that everyone knows about me is that I'm not just an after party guy, I'm a party guy.
You are a party guy.
Super big on going to parties.
Woo.
Seeing other human beings is like one of my favorite things.
You know what? The only thing worse than a party is?
No.
An after party.
Oh,
someone is like, oh, well then, you're coming to the after party, right? We're already here. Why have another party after the party? I'm very sleepy now.
It is a TV show on Apple that I really enjoyed, however. Two seasons that were...
After party was good.
Yeah.
It's good to watch in the afternoon so that I can be in bed very early. We don't actually, as we're recording this, it is before New Year. I don't even know what time we will go to sleep, but probably very reasonably early time. We will
Well, this episode comes out before New Year also. So,
it does. It does. So who knows?
The last episode of 2024.
That's crazy.
We made it, everyone. It's going to be 2025.
We made it through Christmas. You're making it through December. You're in the final stretch of 2024, entering 2025. And so we are going to kind of get you in the mindset for the new year. Isn't that fun and exciting? Isn't
Absolutely.
that what you want to focus on?
I mean, if there's one thing I know about New Year's Eve and parties is that people are mostly focusing on getting into a healthy mindset for the new year.
Oh, so fun. Aging is a delight. I actually the other day was looking for an article and I purposely typed in AARP article on blank. And I was like, I was going to say kick the bucket. What is it? Jump the shark?
Jump the shark, yeah.
I am officially an old person because I'm like, I bet those guys have something interesting to say.
Well, you made me a member of AARP against my will against my knowledge. Suddenly there was just a card with my name on it showed up.
I thought there were going to just be offers everywhere for excitement. And it's like, oh, you can get 10% off Shoney's Burger on Tuesday mornings. I'm like, I'm not retired. Someone did though. Nicole sent me, we all have talked about Nicole before.
Yeah.
She sent me a list of all of the Coachella bands playing in 2025.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh no, take the age 72 and multiply it by the number of bands that you know. And I was like, the font is too small and I am too old. I don't have time for this nonsense. Everybody should stop going to Coachella and do something valuable and helpful. So...
Oh my goodness.
I am a killjoy.
That is the most cranky old person thing we've said in a while, and that's really saying something.
Look, we have been to Coachella. That is a young man's game.
Yeah,
I do not need to go and see all of those people in their outlandish outfits. I don't need it.
These outfits are outlandish. My stars.
Anyway, sorry everybody, / not sorry. So, okay, let's just pretend that it was 4 minutes ago and we're just getting started on this episode and you're delighted to hear about the after party, which is the way we're going to enter into January 2025. And so if you're listening to this, you're probably like, all right, I got to take my medicine. They're going to teach me some stuff about mindset and I'm ready for it.
That's right.
It's good that you're listening to this. It's
Absolutely.
good that we're listening to it. And I'll also make you a promise. I will listen to this episode when it comes out after we are back from our vacation. And then I'll be like, oh, I'm really glad Katherine brought that up back then. The me of before brought it up before the me of the holidays.
No, it's very true. I need this as much as anyone.
Yeah. So here's a question for me, Katherine Weigel, from the past. to me of the future and you guys right now is, what habits are you getting back to after the holidays? And really, how have you been showing up for yourself recently? Was last week really tough for you? Are you happy with your habits? What are you avoiding? Like the scale, your Fitbit, this podcast, like what things have kind of like, you're like, I don't really want to deal with this until the new year. How are you talking to yourself? Do you feel like you're letting yourself down, or is lots of stinking thinking?
Yeah.
Or are you really revved up? Where are you struggling? And like all of this, like we can feel overwhelmed by last week, and we can only feel as like positive about ourselves as our last week's habit. We might not even go like, yeah, 2024 was pretty good. I did all these things. We just focus on what just happened, and then we go into the new year with that mindset. But we have the opportunity to look at the big picture, appreciate that we took a little pause from our habits last week. And now we're going to look forward to January and the months beyond in 2025. And part of that is just focusing on the month right in front of us and really paying attention to what our January looks like. Is it a quiet month? Is it a busy month?
Yeah.
And what are we ready to focus on in January? What habits are we ready to return to?
Yeah, and here are some things to remember as we are entering into a new year. Setbacks are normal. You're not going to wake up January 1st or 2nd and suddenly be a brand new person. And so when you're starting new habits, it is normal and natural to go back to old habits or to let the new habits slide. That's not a reason to give up entirely. Setbacks are not proof that you're broken or that you can't do it. Everyone has setbacks. And what is important is that you show some resiliency and you bounce back when you have one, and you get back on track. You do something that you can get yourself to do right now. Let go of the notion of a before and after transformation. We have all of these examples in society of somebody who just wakes up and suddenly they're fixed and everything's changed and it's all new. And that's not really how life works. This is a continuum. Like, we've been doing this podcast for 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
Started on this particular journey, 2 years before that. And I am not the same person I was when I started. I'm not the same person when this podcast started. I'm not the same person I was, 2 or 3 years ago. Like, I'm not doing all of the same things. It's a constant evolution along the way. And it is a continuum, as I was just saying. It's not a race. You're not running to hit a finish line and then suddenly you're done. Like, I am still working on this. I'm still working on myself. I still gain weight. I still have to lose weight again. Up and down the scale. I have periods of time when things are going great for me, and I have periods of time when things are not going great for me. It's not an on or off switch.
Right. And I think people, and at least this was the me of 9 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't know. Oh my God. It seems really crazy that we've been doing this long.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
There used to be a version of me that would look at fit people or look at people who had hit their weight at Weight Watchers, and they would get like the little like party and the chime or the charm or whatever and be like, oh, you're free, run free, it's done. It's like, it's not like physical therapy where you injured yourself and now you can walk again and then you just go walking into the world. This is a practice that, like Donald said, is a continuum. And part of that, like I used to think, okay, you're thin, you're done, your mindset is perfect, nothing ever gets in your way again. You've got it on easy street. But it turns out mindset is something that we still have to work on. And after an indulgent holiday season, some of those positive mindset things that we've been working on can kind of falter and we can forget what it feels like to have a positive mindset. So we are going to go through a number of limiting beliefs, kind of like old school fixed mindset beliefs about our health journeys, and then compare them with a mindset reframe of kind of the more positive way, the more helpful way to look at our habits.
Yeah. And you know, as we do so often, I am going to play the fixed mindset or the unhelpful behavior side of this. And then Catherine will swoop in and save the day with the much more helpful reframe.
Are you resentful of that, or is that okay?
No, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, right. No, I think it suits us perfectly.
Okay. All right. So what is the first one, Donald?
Okay, the first one is you have a fixed mindset and you have some, I'm just going to say, bad ideas. You say to yourself, I thought that behavior was behind me, whatever behavior that was. And now it's back and you think that you're broken. You say to yourself, that is the last time I'll ever do that. You say, I've learned my lesson. Or you say, I suck and I'll never do this right.
Well, but I think that after Christmas, if we've overindulged and we've gone like what we said we wouldn't overindulge and then we did, we're like, oh no, I'm a failure. But seeing it as a setback rather than like proof that you're broken, I think is really important. So again, thinking about the holiday season as a blip, like this is the positive reframe. This season was a blip. I can learn from this. Reducing the frequency, intensity, and duration of setbacks is progress. Like if you just had like, oh, Christmas week was a lot. Okay. In the past, I would have given Halloween through New Year as my like just get it all out of my system, eat as much food as I can time. So reducing it to 7 days instead of 3 months, that is definitely a win.
Well, and look, I would even go so far as to say it's not just progress to reduce the frequency, intensity, and duration of setbacks, but that's the whole ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That is the brass ring. Like that's what you're aiming for, because you're never, probably never going to be 100% perfect or 100% on track for the rest of your life. Like setbacks are going to happen. And so getting to a point where you're doing what you want to do most of the time, that's really the goal.
Exactly. And I think the big one for me on this mindset reframe part is I can be disappointed in a setback, but I do not need to be dramatic about it. I don't need to use all of the adjectives of trash panda, dumpster fire, ruined. No, but like people do that of like.
No, I know. I think you're giving people ideas of things they can call themselves.
But I would do that of just like, oh, it was a disaster. Like, okay, well, like a 7.8 earthquake is a disaster.
Right.
You ate some Funyuns. Like, chill out. Like, it's not that bad. Like, just move forward. It's not the setback that is the issue. It's the deciding that there's no recovery from a setback. So again, I can be disappointed, but I don't have to be dramatic about it. Let's just move forward.
Absolutely. Okay, so when it comes to activity, here are some unhelpful, bad ideas to have. Fitness is punishment for my bad behavior.
Yeah.
I ate a whole box of Twinkies, so I'm going to like punish myself by running 2 miles and going to the gym every day to get over that. I can exercise away my calories.
Oh boy.
We've said over and over again, you cannot outrun a fork. You can't burn enough calories to outrun how quickly you can shovel them into your face. I know I certainly can't. Or I will focus on high calorie burn activities.
That is so rough. There was actually a person on Facebook in one group that I was in that was like, help, tell me what exercise to do to burn the absolute most amount of calories as quickly as possible. Like, what? Like, that is not a sustainable thing to do.
Well, and even if there was such a thing, if you hate it, you're not going to keep doing it. So you want to find movement that you actually don't hate. If not enjoy, at least don't hate, so that you'll keep doing it.
Well, and if someone was like, okay, do 4 billion jumping jacks right now, and then be like, oh, look at the odometer ticking back on all the calories I'm burning.
Right.
And then you're at factory reset and like, oh, now I never overeat again. And I love just working out normally. Like, that's not how it works.
Exactly.
Okay. So the positive reframe on activity is movement makes my body feel good. I feel better when I'm sitting. I think you were talking to someone yesterday about like how you were pacing while you were on the telephone, and they asked you what you were doing, and you're like, I cannot just sit and talk. Like, I've got to be moving. And that is a neat way to have a conversation.
Oh, very neat.
But they were surprised that you just weren't sitting.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So, movement helps me feel centered. It helps with emotional regulation. And I can also always ask myself, what feels good right now? What do I need? Do I need to stretch? Do I need to walk? Do I need to go for a swim? Do I need to, am I not feeling flexible? For me, asking myself what I need feels better than trying to hit some streak of like, okay, it's New Year. Every single day I'm going to do whatever because I saw a TikToker do it. I'm not on the TikToks, but I think that's what they do there. But like, instead of going for a streak, looking at ways to invest in movement is a much more sustainable way than just focusing on calorie burn. Because I will tell you, you cannot outrun a fork. Like, if you eat the calories, it is much more difficult to get them off with movement. So movement is for feeling good, and for good hormone feelings in yourself. That wasn't very great. But it's not just about like revenge for overeating.
Yeah. And I don't know how many times I have talked to people or heard people in my life or seen people online who say, I just need to get to the gym. If I just need to find time to the gym, as if that was the end all be all 100% answer. And just going to the gym, 30 minutes a day, a couple times a week is not going to be the end all be all answer.
Exactly.
So some bad ideas about food that I know I have had in my life and that you may have had as well is that you might decide to go into a major deficit immediately. You might go from eating whatever you feel like to trying to eat at 1,000 calories a day or 1,200 calories a day or something like very, very low like that. It is not sustainable. You might decide to do a radical new plan for quick results. And when I say radical, I don't mean like, hey, radical dude.
Yeah, we're not hanging 10 off of anything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean an extreme, something where you're cutting out whole categories of food. You're only eating while you're wearing trash bags to sweat things out.
But I did that, and like a gallon. I'll have a gallon of water today with some cayenne in it and some honey, and then I'll I did that many times, thinking it was like, oh, it'll get it out of my system and it'll be fine.
I know, and I was on a plan where like part of the plan was like, okay, at noon you're gonna have 4 almonds, like.
Oh my God.
Like really like 4 almonds. Okay. Anyway, or you'll decide that you are going to keep eating poorly until next month, and then you'll restart.
That magical get it out of your system.
We just have this idea, and we're saying this on an episode that is going to come out right before New Year's. We have this idea that the calendar is magical somehow, that like next week or next month or like starting on a Monday or starting on the first of the year is somehow magical. And at that point, then everything is going to be fixed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So the reframe healthy practices are, you know what? I feel terrible right now because of the way I've eaten, but it will pass. And I think for me, sitting with that discomfort is important when I've overeaten. This would be a good time to work back toward maintenance calories. So again, if you went through December not tracking or you overindulged the last week of the year, The idea of just getting back to tracking is step one. Not a giant deficit, not something extreme, but hey, I'm going to get back into the practice of tracking. Then, hey, I'm going to get back into the practice of maintenance. Then after that, let's try for a deficit. Easing back into it is much more manageable than some extreme, like we said, coming in hot, floundering, and giving up after 2 weeks of eating at some extreme deficit.
Absolutely.
Okay, and a great reframe too. Instead of that, like that under eating, hey, this would be a great time to pump up the volume.
I messed it up. I was writing a note down on my paper and I messed it up.
So pump up the volume. Never hurt to eat an apple. Pump up the volume with some veg. Eat what you're eating. Add some vegetables. It's good for you. Vitamins, fiber, etc. And then again, this might be a good time to distance myself from unhelpful foods. We talked about this in the last episode. It is time to throw out the leftovers, all of the candy and the treats and the cookies and the whatever. Get it out of the house. You enjoyed it. Diminishing returns. Now it's just kind of stale, but you feel guilty. Just throw it out. Start fresh. That's a good idea. But we only look thin.
Yeah, but we're also not saying to go, cold turkey and to not eat anything that you enjoy ever again. But, if there are things that you've got all this leftover holiday food that you feel like you're just going to, lose control around, get those foods out of your way.
Well, and it feels good to return to habits and go like, oh, yeah, after dinner, I always have my, like the 2 cookies or, the ice cream cone or whatever. And like, that feels normal to me. Like that is a normal treat that gets me back in my headspace. Not, okay, there's 4 pounds of fruitcake left that I better choke down because I don't want to offend anyone.
Absolutely. Okay, so some bad ideas revolving around the scale and weighing yourself. The first one is that you're going to get on the scale immediately to remind yourself you are a garbage person.
Yeah.
Like looking at the weight as a punishment somehow. Now, for me, I do like to get on the scale regularly so that I sort of have to face the reality of what is going on, because I can often fool myself into thinking, oh, well, it's probably not that bad. But don't get on the scale as some sort of punishment for yourself. And the other bad idea here is to weigh yourself obsessively multiple times a day to continue to torture yourself, or to be like, oh, wait, maybe I've lost a little weight now. Oh, wait, okay, 2 hours later. Oh, maybe now I've lost a little bit of weight.
Well, that is something I used to do of like, I feel like I might be lighter now. So like,
exactly.
Like it might be fine. But like the reframe of that, and especially for me, because we are real human people. Like, just letting you know, this is not AI.
You may think we're robots, but no, real human people.
We just got back from vacation as you're listening to this, and it's just before New Year. I think my policy this week might be, hey, you just had an indulgent week. It was out of the ordinary. You might like just be kind of bloated right now. Maybe don't hurt my own feelings by getting on the scale right now.
Yeah.
My normal weigh-in day is Friday. So I'll give myself a couple of days to get back to my habits, to like go through New Year, eat a salad or 2, and I'll return to weighing in on Friday. That's my normal cadence. I'll go there instead of that, like returning immediately just to make myself feel bad.
Okay. So the next and final category of bad ideas are how to deal with negative results. The first bad idea is that you perpetuate your punishment cycle. So you get some bad results, you get some results that you don't like, and then you punish yourself for it. And so then you try again, or you don't try again, you get some bad results, and you punish yourself for it. The next bad idea is you get angry when things don't go back to normal immediately.
That is a really big one, that idea that you just get it all out of your system.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't just go away overnight.
Yeah, or maybe, like along the lines of getting it out of your system. You do that thing where you're just like, well, I'm just going to eat all of this weekend. I'm going to eat whatever I want. And then Monday, like I will, go back to normal and things will be fine. Another idea you might have is to panic and think that you need to do something drastic. One of those extreme diets that we were talking about earlier, that you need to try something, completely out of the box and painful in order to lose the weight. Or you give up completely because, well, you've got some negative results. You've decided that you are a trash panda.
Yep.
And that you'll never learn and you'll never get better. And you internalize that and you believe that that is the person you are and that will never change.
Right. But then the jerky growth mindset version of you steps in. Which is something that is cultivated over time. It's not like we just woke up one morning with positive, sunny attitudes.
That's right.
It is a practice, like learning the piano. Like, I don't know what other people learn things. Language.
Sure. Languages. You might learn a physical skill, like how to play a sport, over and over again.
Exactly. It doesn't just come to you naturally.
And let me tell you, I don't have a pleasant, sunny attitude a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
But I believe in myself at this point. I believe that I can figure something out. I believe that I am capable of doing hard things and that when I run into a hard patch, I know that I will be able to figure it out now. And that was not me, 7, 8, 9 years ago at all.
Exactly. So the sort of the opposite of those, limiting beliefs and getting down on yourself is knowing that a setback is not a failure. Like for us, we have different literal and figurative seasons. The holidays are a tough time. It's quieter in January and February. It's easier to stick to my health goals. The summer is kind of easier. Like there are different seasons, like literal months, days, weeks, or emotional seasons where we know that sometimes maintenance is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are seasons where we're at a deficit, and that's okay. So again, we did a whole episode. Failure is feedback. If you had a setback, we can learn from it. It's not, permanent in stone. That means I'll never do well again. Consider how you're going to approach the weeks to come. Again, we suggested not going for an extreme deficit, but just easing back into tracking and then easing into maintenance and then easing into a deficit. When we set realistic goals for ourselves, again, it's not the Rocky montage, but but darn it, Doodle, if it isn't more helpful to be consistent and pay attention and forge ahead week by week rather than setting some extreme austere measure for yourself. As we are recording this from September through November and into December, I have a week by week plan of how I'm going to eat. I have deficit weeks. I have maintenance weeks. I have weeks where I'm just having a policy, like over the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
Just policies about eating some veg. It wasn't super extreme. And my plan for this week is getting back to tracking, eating at maintenance before going into a deficit. So when we're working on these long-term goals, so much of this is tied to our identity as problem solvers, as adaptable people, as people who pivot, who have setbacks, but know that, again, we are not taking vacations from our habits. We are entering the new year with habits that we know make us feel our best, not because other people are judging us, not because of some Instagram thing, but because we know that investing in ourselves matters. And part of that is our mindset. It's not just food and movement. It's how we think about our challenges, how we think about our setbacks, and knowing that we are responsible for taking care of ourselves. No one is going to come in and save us from ourselves, but you can save yourself from your negative limiting thoughts by just focusing on what is the next best choice I can make. And we can tell you right now that making the choice to listen to this podcast was the first Great step for the new year. Congratulations.
Absolutely. That is the best investment in yourself, is listening to this podcast. So thank you so much for doing that. You've already taken an amazing step towards reaching your health and fitness goals. If you would like to take a lot more amazing steps toward that, you can listen to all of our episodes. The most recent 300 are available on all of the major podcast platforms. And you can go all the way back to the first episode, all from January of 2018, on YouTube or anytime at our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, today is the perfect day to join our support group. So click on that link for Wolt Place, join our support group, find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group. But I'm going to step back and say it is our weekly coaching Zoom group.
Yeah.
Like, you have access to me every single week with presentations, coaching sessions, and we have a Facebook group. If Facebook is like, I don't want to be online all that much, join. Like, weekly coaching, what are you even talking about? Like, that is amazing. What am I even talking about, Donald? We have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
And you did one of those Zooms this morning, before we started podcasting today, and it was wonderful.
Yep, Donald learned so much.
I learned so much. Also, if you want to interact with us in other ways, we are on social media, not TikTok, because Catherine has already besmirched the outlandish outfits on TikTok. But we are on Instagram and Facebook at We Only Look Thin. You could also email us if you would like. If you want to give us a shout out, if you want to say hello, give us a compliment, tell us what you like, you can do that. You can give us episode ideas. If you've got some ideas on how to navigate the new year, on how to get over some negative thought patterns, we would like to hear from you. And you can do all of those things to weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep. And ring in the new year by going over to Apple Podcast and leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it let us know after 7 years, 7 of them, count.
Yeah.
1, 2, 7 of them, that what we're doing after all of these years is making a difference in your life, but it also helps other people find our podcast. So please head on over there. I know that there are people out there who are like, but it won't make a difference. I'm just one person. Like, every single one means so much to us. So please head over there. Thank you in advance.
Yes, thank you in advance. And thank you in advance for giving us a shout out. If you know somebody who might get something out of the show and you could just tell them about us, that really does help the show grow. Or if you are in an internet group of some kind, a Facebook group, a Reddit group, a Discord server that involves weight loss, health, fitness, and you give us a shout out, that would really help the show grow.
It sure would.
So if you have been focusing on nothing but how to get that 10% discount on a Shoney's burger on a Tuesday morning since Catherine mentioned it, please instead just remember that Catherine and I are
an inspiration. Happy New Year.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.